Happy Saturday night, Crawl Spacers. Welcome to our review show. Let's introduce the panel. We've got JR. What's going on, JR? How are you, sir?
Well, I had to disown Spencer this last week.
Wait a minute. You disown the boy?
Had to disown him.
What
had
happened?
to disown him. Well, I being the father of the year that I typically am, I decide to take the boy out, to our favorite comic book store, Carol and John's. And, I said, being a generous sort, I told Spencer to, find himself something and pick himself out something. And, and he betrayed me. He betrayed me.
Oh, no. Not the distinguished competition. Oh, no. I'll take the boy in. Here. George, that's a good purchase, isn't it? Secret Wars trade.
Yes, he chose wisely as the Templar Knight and final Indiana Jones and the whatever crusade that was.
No doubt, that's the Holy Grail right there.
I made him walk home.
Oh my gosh!
I mean, it was like, and I said, I have no son.
Enough out of the hater. Let's introduce the rest of the panel. We've got Kelly. What's going on, Kelly?
Hi, it's good. Are we introducing George or?
We did. George just.
Okay.
Well, you didn't ask me like how I'm doing or anything.
Oh,
All I did was like react to JR's crap.
I was asking you to join me in
Thank you,
insulting
Kelly.
JR.
Thank you, Kelly. Otherwise, I may not have had a chance to let everyone know how I'm doing.
Hold on. Okay. No.
Oh.
Hello, Kelly. How are you? All right.
Good.
Now, what's going on, George? How are you, George?
I hate you like herpes. I really do. Aren't you going to give Kelly a chance now since you bumped me?
All right, Kelly, what's going on?
I mean, as we discussed off air, I bought a new shirt at Target.
Yeah, you're wearing a new Miles Morales shirt. Look at that.
I buy things from the little boy section of Target since they're cheaper.
Yeah.
This is $10 versus $20, but I feel like it's outing Miles's secret identity here.
Yeah. You don't see T-shirts that say Peter Parker and then the Spider-Man image underneath. Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, no.
All right, are you two ready?
Okay.
Are you two prepared? Our audience, 14 members watching at the moment. Are you ready?
Okay.
What's going on, George? George.
All right, so 3 things really quick off the top. Number 1, I got a headache. So I'm in an even fouler mood than normal. Number 2, I bought tickets this morning to go see wrestling live in 2 weeks here in Dallas. Yeah. For those of you who don't know, I've been getting back into wrestling. I was around.
Wrestling.
I first got.
Is there a difference?
It's the same thing, but I like if I sat down with Jack Kirby, who was heavily influenced by wrestlers, and said, "Hey, Jack, do you want to go watch wrestling at across town tonight?" He would probably say, like, "I don't know what the hell you mean, wrestling?" And I'd be like, "Yeah, wrestling. Let's go watch wrestling." So yeah, I got back into that. Cool. I was around, back when we were kids. Remember, we're like the Rock and Wrestling Connection, Cyndi Lauper, Hulk Hogan, all that stuff.
Yeah.
That's when I first got into it. But then, I skipped a lot of years when wrestling kind of went, went off the reservation a little bit. But no, I'm getting back into it, and watching it. I'm not doing it, but like watching it.
You
obviously.
could.
I could be a manager. I'm past my prime.
Okay.
Number 3, I think it's sad that we live in a world where Kelly, as a woman, could go shop in the boys department, but me as a grown ass man, it would be frowned upon if I were to go and shop in the little girls department.
No. Target tries to do gender inclusivity, so you could totally do it.
That is true. As Kelly said, there's no Spider-Man anything in the girls section, right?
There's
nothing. And wait, are you done with your bullet points? By the way, George, was that 3?
Yeah.
Okay.
If you're able to count, that was the 3rd one. Yes.
Well, there's 1. No, I'm just kidding.
Wow.
All right, we have another person on the show. This person I've missed. I haven't seen this person since 2020. We have Ashley. Yay!
Okay,
what's up?
Now, right?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah.
Good. I had to go get my mic from upstairs, my good old trusty Snowball. It's good to see everyone again.
Yeah, I love your haircut. I love the new house.
Yeah.
Yes.
Everything is so new. New Ashley, new kitchen.
Where's the baby?
Asleep.
Where's Jack?
He's
Yes.
playing the new Resident Evil, so we're not going to see him.
Oh, okay.
I'm not
How-
going to see
how,
him even for a long time.
How has Bogey adapted to A, the
Ah.
baby, and B, the new place?
He
A
loves
lot of
the
change
house.
for Bogey all at once.
Bogey loves the house. He loves the yard. He's out in it every second he gets. He doesn't know what to think of Carol. She is
Aw.
he the more he can pretend she doesn't exist, I think that's how he keeps his sanity right now.
Cats are so mean.
They're trying to interact a little more.
Yeah.
She'll whenever she sees him, she'll, her eyes will light up. She reaches out and she goes like, ooh, ooh, ooh. It's like, ooh, kitty.
That's how I get with the coffee in the morning.
Ooh, 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 coffee.
Ooh, 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 yeah.
By
When
the
I
way,
was,
the fans have missed Ashley. Look at this. Heroing says hello, Ashley. Anime, welcome back, Ashley. Hornacek, Ashley. Bruce is still George the Animal Bearman is his wrestling name.
Wrestling name.
Okay.
Hey, just real quick,
Yeah.
don't do what my mom did, Ashley. Like with because when I came, like when my mom had me, they had a cat, and my mom got rid of it because all of her relatives were telling her that the cat would strangle me in my sleep during the middle of the night.
No, yeah. We did have he would try and get in the bassinet sometimes, and now we just, he's not allowed her in our room at night until we move her into her nursery, and it's like, it worked just fine. So
There you go. Hello, SoFlo, Herring, Brad, George, JR, and everybody. Hello, Bob. Vinkman in the house. What's going on, Vinkman? Anime Hunter. Hello, Brad and JR.
Oh, there he is. I got a cat.
Oh,
is
look
huge.
at that. Hold on. Let me full screen that big old cat. Look at that thing. Hello, Bogey.
Size of a 1970 Cadillac DeVille. Cat's massive.
Oh, that's awesome. That's funny. Let's see. We've also got Power Packers. Heyo, friendos. Hi, George. Sup, Spider Friends. Anime, thanks for the like. That we will talk about that on the next show. You and J. Scott Campbell are liking something that Anime Hunter has
Yes.
there.
Yes, we
Yes.
did.
I thought this was going to be an episode of Dr. Phil with JR and Brad for a minute. No. We're okay. JR got his psychiatric stuff out of the way.
Two things JR needs more of Dr. Phil and Jesus.
Eric, what's going on? I have loved wrestling for a long time, says Bruce.
Hell yeah.
Let's see here. Venkman, welcome back, Ashley. There you go. Thank you for the super chat. Aziz says, I entered to talk about cats. As a cat person, it makes me happy. So Bogey has a fan now.
Yay.
Bogey has
Louis
lots of
says
fans.
Bogey is large and in charge.
oh yes.
Cats
Yes.
will protect children from murderous trolls like in the documentary Cat's Eyes. I don't know. So
I
you've got a
haven't seen it,
security
but I
cat,
believe it.
evidently, Ashley. Okay, so who's got the first one? Who's got the first review? Is it George? All right.
Boy, am I raring to go, too.
There you go. So it just so happens I've got a preview up on the crawl space now. Look at this. So let's take a look. This is ASM number 63, Legacy 864. We're going to review 3 books tonight. So George, take me through this one, sir.
Yes, this is King's Ransom Part 1 by Nick Spencer and Federico Vicentini. Vincent, I don't know how you spell that, and I don't want to get it wrong. I'm sorry if you're watching, Federico. But the story starts off at Ravenscroft with Norman talking to his captive audience, aka his son. Talking to him about Normie, and I started thinking about this, and I was like, Harry probably deserves this hell. This hell of being trapped and not being able to do anything while he sits there and listens to his crazy ass father ramble on and on.
Why does he deserve it, George? Why does he deserve that?
I mean,
he was a tortured child, I would think.
Yeah, but I mean that only goes so far.
Yeah.
The tortured thing only I had a bad childhood thing, it only gets you so far.
Okay.
So yeah, while Norman's breaking down, confessing everything to Harry, he's probably, God knows how often Norman does this. I mean, at the same time, you look at Harry and you're like, you kind of deserve this, but also you kind of pity him. because anybody else could just walk out of the room, but no, he's trapped there with Norman while Norman just uses him as free therapy.
Yeah.
But meanwhile, the Kingpin is watching all of it through a short circuit TV inside the asylum. And hey, he's got Baron Mordo over to have a casual chat about demons. He refers to something that, like, or back in Secret Empire, which I skip like it was herpes. But I don't know. Apparently, they were both in there, and I knew Kingpin was, and that they were kind of at odds with one another. But now they're willing to work together.
Right.
Kingpin's offering up the tablet, which, by the way, he says here, "I have no interest in it. I'll give it to you." Kingpin's lying.
Right.
He's like, Mordo help me, and then at some point, Kingpin will probably try to have Mordo killed or find some other way to get him out of the picture.
Right.
So yeah, they kind of make an agreement about getting Mordo's help on finding out what Harry knows or what Kindred knows, and that's what Kingpin is keen to find out. And I'm like, well, what does Kindred know that you're wanting to find out? Is it who Peter Parker or who Spider-Man is? Is that it? Does anyone else have a clue? Because I was like legitimately like wondering. I was like, the hell are you trying to figure out?
I don't know.
To what Kindred knows. And it made me think if we're all leading back up to the Mephisto deal at some point, Kingpin finding out who Spider-Man is again may set up an interesting sort of
that could it could come full circle. That'd be interesting.
It could come full circle, yeah.
Yeah.
Which again makes me think that if any sort of rectification of that deal happens, that it could mean that Aunt May dies. Meanwhile, we cut over to Spider-Man and Boomerang in the middle of a giant gang war, as a lot of the gangs that Kingpin has assembled to go after Kingpin, and on the side, Spider-Man, are kind of assembled together. There's just a big brawl as they're trying to kill Boomerang and Spidey. And the weird thing is that they're also fighting one another.
Yeah.
So it's one of these things where it's, how many times, Brad, have we just got done talking about this in Fight Club or Friday Night Fight about, you have all these mob bosses and they're killing more of each other than they are superheroes.
Yeah, just stand back and watch them fight each other. Yeah.
Yeah. So eventually the Owl and his gang joins the party. And the Owl's looking pretty freaky. It reminded me back when, I don't know, like I'm looking at this panel right now of the Owl, and that glimpse back we had to like one of the previous issues, where all the bad guys are kind of assembled together, and it made me think back. Wasn't it in Superior Foes where the Owl was in there and he was actually eating rats?
I kind of remember that. Yeah,
it seems like that was Superior Foes. That was just like a weird, it was just like a weird side, like I don't know, recollection I had. So while Spider-Man is musing internally as he does. We kind of flash over to see what's going on with Randy and Janice and Robbie and Lonnie and all that good stuff. Their reactions kind of mirror one another. It's almost like they start going through the 7 stages of grief. There's a lot of denial, a lot of anger. It was funny to me to see Randy and Glory talking. And Randy's like, hold on to these pictures. Don't share these pictures with anybody. And I'm like, dude, you're a journalist. Aren't you supposed to like try to put them on the front page? Why is it different when it's your stuff, Robertson?
Double standard,
dude. Yeah. But we get a nice big spread here of Tombstone and Robbie going through a
history piece. Yeah.
Going through like their history and everything, and how it's very, it's a very violent history, very troubling history. So meanwhile, we cut back away from that, where they're both, reacting initially to finding out, which is with rage. And meanwhile, Spider-Man and Fred are trying to secure the, I don't even call him Boomerang anymore, it's just Fred, are trying to secure the tablet that everyone's trying to get, while simultaneously also trying to kill Boomerang. And Spidey causes a diversion to let Boomerang get away, winds up webbing up a bunch of the bad guys. Well, the bad guys are still alive that haven't been killed off by other bad guys. swings away, and then suddenly he's mobbed by social media influencers. If there's any term I hate that's come up in the last several years,
What's
it's
that?
social media influencers. I can't stand this. I think it's one of the most obnoxious things about our society today. Have you ever watched like YouTube videos of this stuff, Brad?
Well, I mean, Kim Kardashian's a social media influencer. The
Kim
people,
Kardashian's a social climber. I don't know. It may be a little bit of a different thing.
Well, I mean, if someone came to you, George, and said, "I will pay you money to talk about whatever product," and it's good money, and you didn't have to leave the house or anything, wouldn't you be a social media influencer?
I mean, I guess well, number one, first of all, I'm just some dude, right? Right? Where like, what's anybody going to come up to me for?
Well,
Hey,
all it takes is a dude. I mean,
I guess, but I mean, all I'm on is, well, I don't know. I mean, I guess I'm on the Crawl Space show.
there you go.
I
Bruce
guess,
says we're
like-
all social media influencers.
Yeah, I guess, like-
Technically,
I don't think I'm a social media influencer so much as I am just a critic and a commentator. Like, I'm not hawking products. I mean, technically, like, yeah, we're talking about products, but it's all, you know.
Call them SMIs. That doesn't make it much better.
No, that sounds like an STD. Oh, I hooked up with this gal last week, and I got the
SMIs.
SMI.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
That's like the third STD joke tonight, George, and we've been on the air 16 minutes.
Is it?
Yeah, you said
yeah.
herpes
I told you.
twice and an SMI.
I told you, dude. I'm off tonight.
Okay,
The headache is throwing me off. I'm sorry.
it's okay.
Where
Meanwhile,
was I?
back to
Oh
the
yeah,
social
social
media
media influencers.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's there with all these like young, hot social media influencers and Jonah. Everybody's taking selfies and crap, and Jonah's like, "Hey, make sure you're here for the AMA." And which Spider-Man wonders if Jonah even knows what that means. And Jonah says that he assumes it's something that Robbie will hate, which I thought was funny.
Yeah.
But then you have Ronnie showing up at Randy's at the apartment he has with Fred and Peter, reading Robbie the riot act. He's like, because Robbie's like, you seem upset, and he's like, upset, I was upset when you got thrown into jail, when you were
He was protesting.
yeah, back when you were
Back in the 60s. I was mad at you 50 years ago, kid.
yeah and I was mad when you didn't go to law school, and but no, I wasn't. I was just upset then, but now, yeah.
When was the law school? Was that Byrne and Mackey?
I can't remember. It seemed all he wanted to do around the time of Byrne and Mackey was go out with Glory.
JR, when was the law years of Randy?
I don't know. I was about to say, how come Robbie didn't say anything like I was mad at you when you married that white girl? That seemed to have been completely omitted from.
When was that? Was that the 80s?
Oh yeah. What was her? I forget what her name was. She was a blonde girl. Yeah, Randy got married a white girl.
Oh yeah, he is a divorce.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't remember that at all.
Robbie doesn't say anything about that or the divorce or anything like
doesn't,
that.
does he?
Yeah.
I just remember him with Nora Winters in that one awful comic where Slott intimated that the only reason Nora was with him because he had big junk, which I thought was offensive.
Oh, Nora back in the brand new day.
Yeah.
That sounds like Slot.
It
Yeah,
does.
yeah.
Here, real quick, we got some comments
Yeah.
coming in. Hornacek says the website influenced me to take a chance on social media, which I never regretted. So we influenced Hornacek.
Hey.
Let's see. Venkman, thank you for the super chat. Venkman, trust YouTubers who give honest, objective opinions about the staff, the stuff they review, not paid promoters and mouthpieces who only say nice things so they can say more free stuff.
Yeah,
Yep.
so see, in that regard, we are not social media influencers.
That's true.
You're
Matt
not.
wants to know, didn't Randy get married and divorced both off panel?
Yes.
Probably. I don't remember it.
Maybe the going to law school thing was like something that Spencer just
I think
slipped in here.
I think his wife was named Amanda. I think was what his wife's name was.
Ah.
So
It's sad that Randy's racial protests and arrests are still relevant, says Power Packers. And Bruce says Randy pursued graduate studies in social work at Pittsburgh State University, where he met and married fellow student Mandy Batavidas, a Jewish woman.
I don't remember this at all.
thank
I
you,
don't-
Bruce. Thank you,
Thank you,
Bruce.
Bruce.
Where was what era is that, Bruce? Give me some ASM numbers.
Was this during the Clone Saga?
I can't
No,
remember this.
No, it wasn't.
Because if so, I was
That
about
was
to say that
prior-
would explain why I don't remember it.
No, it was prior to that.
Was it?
Yes,
Man.
I'm pretty
Was
sure that it was.
Was it around the same time that Pete and MJ got married? The 80s?
80s?
I don't know if it was. It
Oh,
was.
here it is.
was
Here, Nintendo. The wedding thing of a blonde girl was in Peter David's run in the 80s. Robbie welcomed her in because she saved him from choking on his food and that she's Jewish. Okay.
Was it
Well,
was it
there-
in Spectacular?
Maybe. Yeah.
Huh? Or Web or okay. Anyway,
Okay. Well, the chat's saying this Peter David spec era is what they're saying.
all right. Once in a blue moon, we learned something.
There you. That's why we
You
have
know,
chat. All
that's why we
28
have
of you
chat here,
watching.
that's
Thank
right.
you.
So and anyway, so Nick Spencer conveniently omitted talking about Randy's marriage and divorce. So
Anyway.
All right. So yeah, Robbie's actually showing him pictures of him making out with Janice, which is probably a little disconcerting if like you had your dad bust into your, to your apartment and just throwing all these, pictures. Like the Wilford Brimley discussion we had a few episodes back.
Kelly,
I
that
won't get-
happened to you?
Whoa.
Well, not quite, but
You had your hand up like that.
well, I'm
happened
just
to
saying.
me.
I mean, my dad is a retired GBI agent, so that
he
could be
have
normal.
pictures. Yeah,
He could have
follow you.
pictures.
Yeah.
He did follow me.
Oh wow,
He'd show up in class.
that's so funny. Don't go out with a girl that's a cop. Dad's a cop. That's
Yeah, no,
yeah.
our
That's,
investigator.
he was probably wanting to make sure you didn't date someone like Peter Parker so that you wouldn't be thrown off a bridge.
yeah, that's true.
That's possible.
You know?
True.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Real quick, George, we have the issue number. Peter Parker Spec 112 says Anime
Spec.
Hunter.
okay.
All right.
There you go. Thank you.
Yeah, I totally I would have missed that had it been a question
I know.
on anything.
Yep.
All right.
maybe that will be for Christmas or the next Spider Jeopardy. I better write that down now. So,
Can't be now.
You blew it. He was totally writing that down, JR. Oh, it was 115. He got the number one.
Oh,
Okay.
Spec 115. There you go. All
All
right.
right. So yeah, Robbie and Randy kind of go back and forth and about how, it's Tombstone's daughter and how he's been, Tombstone's been making his life hell for, since they were kids. And Randy's like, no, I get it. No, she's a sweet gal. She's reforming, and Robbie's not hearing of it though. Robbie's like, yeah, she's going to wind up in jail one day where she belongs. You need to end this. Slams the door on his way out. Meanwhile, Janice is having a less than civil conversation with her father, who is like wrecking up his apartment or office upstairs at his house. We presume it's upstairs at his house. I don't know, but yeah, I mean, he's literally like picking up a desk and throwing it. It's actually a really cool panel. Just ranting and raving about how no daughter of hers is going to marry a Robertson, and she just blasts her way out and leaves while making a joke about "Papa Don't Preach" by Madonna, which I thought was funny.
Oh, that's
So
funny.
then they split up and they're talking to their friends. They're this is when I was reading this, when like Peter and Randy are talking and they're juxtaposing that to Janice talking to all of her sinister girlfriends, all of her what is it now? It's not Sinister Syndicate now. What is it? It's Sinister.
Sinister Syndicate.
No,
it's
JR.
not. What is it now? Sinister what though?
Sinister
It-
6? No, that's
No, it's not
I thought it was
6.
the Sister Syndicate.
Maybe
Oh,
that.
yeah.
I just knew it wasn't Sinister Syndicate anymore.
Yeah.
But it's been so long since we've seen them now. I say so long. It's been like probably like 6 months, 8 months. I don't know. So they're talking to Janice, like they have their own little girls' night out, and they're talking to Janice. And so, it made me think is like this feels tropish. I mean, we've seen this kind of thing before, like the guy and the girl and their friends are talking and crossing back between their different conversations. But I couldn't think of any actual examples of that while I was coming up with that. It's one of those things where where somebody asks you, like, yeah, prove it. Let's hear examples, and a trillion in your head, but you can't focus on one.
right.
Right? It's like one of those things. Anyway, so yeah, Randy and Robbie are eating pizza and talking about this, and Meanwhile, while Janice is talking to her girlfriends, which is pretty funny, and they want to hear the whole story. And she's like, "Well, it happened the night I tried to kill Boomerang," and she goes through like her, like coming into the window. And I think they actually, I know that they showed Janice going to kill Boomerang, but I think didn't they just like immediately go to making out or something like that? I'm trying to remember. Yeah, I think that's how it happened.
Yeah.
But in the comic, it's a little more intimate than that. Like Randy's drinking out of the milk carton, and she's like, I don't know. It was just, maybe the way he was drinking out of the carton, like in complete a-hole, right there out of the fridge.
Maybe it was his own personal carton. We don't know that.
You know what? It could have been there. There might be a note on there that says Randy's milk. I don't know. But yeah, and then the other girls think that that's really cute, and but then they're like, you got to break up with him, and the same thing Peter's telling Randy, you gotta get rid of him, There's a really funny moment there where White Rabbit's talking about a similar situation that happened with her and Hawkeye, and I was like, did that actually happen, or is Spencer just being funny? Because the thing is like Hawkeye used to be a bad guy at one point.
Yeah. He's kind of a man. He's kind of a man-ho too, isn't he?
He is. He's a bit of a man-ho. He is. And at one point was going out with Black Widow, or Black Shadow, whatever.
Black Widow. Jessica Drew.
No, he was dating Black Widow back when she was a criminal, though.
Yeah. But also Spider-Woman. And who else is he? Anyway.
Isn't he like with the night nurse or what in the night? He was with the night nurse during King in Black.
Maybe. At this point, I feel like between him and Carol, it's easier to come up with a list of people they haven't been with.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's they have these separate relationship discussions and end with, okay, well, you've got to be honest and talk to the other person. And Janice's friends are like, he's going to try to change you. And Peter's like, oh, hey, she's a criminal, and both groups start talking about like how what's legal and illegal is there's a big gray area between it. And it made me think recently, I know that a couple of stories I've heard like just in the past like month and a half where you had like, I don't remember what city this was, but like 2 teenage girls murdered an Uber driver. Right, trying to rob him, and they got off just about scot-free. They're not going to do any jail time. The judge let them off with a slap in the hand. Meanwhile, you have a gal who's accused of trying to rig the homecoming queen election, and she's looking at 16 years.
Good gosh!
And I'm like, yeah, I guess you could say that. Yeah, things are reaching legal gray areas right now because, like. Wow. You can do something that, you murder somebody. Yeah, it's not a big deal. You try to rig the homecoming queen election. Well, maybe you need to do hard time. Well,
maybe that was in Texas where they take that kind of thing seriously, right, George? High school football and cheerleading.
We had Texas is where you had that one mom that actually tried to hire a hitman in something high school cheerleader related. So, which I think was a movie with Holly Hunter at one point.
Good grief.
Anyway, so yeah, Randy and Janice go, or Janice goes over to Randy's place to have their talk, which winds up just doing what they do, so to speak. And then they start arguing when Randy mentions to her that he told her dad that she's reforming, and she's like, what? And then she's like, what we did just right now, that's way more exciting after you've robbed a bank. And I thought that was hysterical. And he was like, wait, did you just rob a bank like in between them and like coming over here to like hook up with me? I said, you could feel Robbie's shock, and she's like, yeah, nobody got hurt. See, it works. So good on them. I'm kind of pulling for Janice and Randy, to be honest. Okay. I kind of am. I like these kids. They need to talk to one another more than to their friends, though. I think that's Dr. George's advice. Anyhow, Crime Master. Yeah, Crime Master and his goons bust in to. I think I'm actually not sure why they bust in on them. I guess because like they've trailed the place where Fred is.
Mhm.
And they're after the tablet, I guess. Is that
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
they are.
And I didn't immediately understand. I'm like,
I
wait a
didn't
minute, why
either.
are you there? But then I was like, oh wait, no, that's the apartment, the same apartment Fred lives in,
And Peter. Yep.
and Peter. Yeah, Peter and Fred, and Gog somewhere,
And Gog.
which I'm assuming is gonna. Yeah, I mean, based on the preview art, we know how that goes. Anyway,
So,
So,
is this crime? What number of Crime Master is this? Is
I
this
think we're on 3.
Well, I thought Bennett Brant was number 3. I mean,
Then we may
it was
be on 4.
number 1 was Nikki Lewis, and then number 2 was Nikki Lewis Jr. or whatever from that infamous Marvel team up 2-parter, and then Bennett Brant, I think, was in the event or the Agent Venom series or something. So, is this a new person? And
Who knows?
I just assume every time I see Crime Master now that it's somebody new.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at now. Just anytime you see Crime Master, just assume that it's not the same one as the last before. It's like the 24/7 championship belt in WWE. We're literally, the entire premise of it is you have it until somebody else clocks you and you lose it. Just random people on the street have been 24/7 champions. Anyway, so yeah, a big gunfight breaks out between Janice and Crime Master's goons. She throws Randy to safety while she starts. Who am I losing? Somebody yawned. Who was that?
JR.
So she throws Randy to say, we're almost at the end, JR. All right.
What? Here,
So
I got the paddles ready, JR.
So she throws Randy to off to the side while she's starting to beat ass. In the meantime, you've got Fred and Peter talking about the pieces of the tablet that they're getting together, and about how this is Fred's big chance to be a hero now. Fred actually seems legitimately thrilled by the idea of doing something good and actually doing something right for once.
as opposed to murdering Jackpot's husband right in front of her.
Yeah. So meanwhile, back at the apartment, Janice gets struck from behind, and she turns around, and it's Madame Mask, and Madame Mask is looking down at her, and she tells Crime Master, "This one is not to be trifled with," and then it sets off Janice like into this huge fangirl, talking 1,000 miles a minute because she's so excited about meeting Madame Mask,
Right.
which is cute, and then Madame Mask kicks her in the face to shut her up. They always say you should never meet your heroes.
No, they'll disappoint. Yeah.
Yeah, that they always
Or
disappoint you.
kick you in the face.
Like when you take like your girlfriend at the time to go see Adam West. I've told that story on here before. Anyway, so yeah, they incapacitate Janice right as Fred and Peter jump into the room. More violence occurs. A lot more shooting starts up again between. Not between, but from Fred, from the goons and Madame Mask and Crime Master at Fred and at Peter. And then suddenly looks like the side of the apartment explodes. To be continued. And then then we get at the end, sure enough, a teaser for Ashley's BFF.
In GOG we trust.
And GOG we trust, yeah.
Always.
All right. So, George, you're great on that one.
I guess one an A. I had a lot of fun. I enjoyed it.
Okay. Ashley,
I'd say B.
JR,
I gave it a B.
Kelly,
I gave it a B plus.
C out of me.
Wow.
Yep. Low for me. Before we proceed, I have
Must
found
have
out
been the
why.
cover.
Yeah, the cover sucks. No, Bagley did it. It's not that awful. I just wish we had a red suited Spider-Man. George and panel, I have found the reason why we don't remember it. It's just 3 simple panels.
Oh,
Hey,
there you
Dad,
go.
this is
There
my
you go.
wife, Amanda. Your wife, as in you're married? Well, Amanda, this is a shock. Yep, that's the word. That's it. That's the girl. I also looked, Ashley. We have a little flash dance montage of Felicia getting ready. I'm a maniac. Look at her getting ready. She's lifting
Girl
weights.
boss.
Yeah, she's missing leg. She needed leg warmers. I'm surprised
there you go.
she didn't have leg
That's
warmers.
warming more than her legs. Oh, you mean she's missing them? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just her workout in her apartment or something. I guess she's got a little.
She would.
Yeah, she would. She would.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's in Spec 115. There you go. So 3 panels. We missed it. Yeah. Okay. George, your pros. What did you like? You gave it a high. You gave it an A, man.
I give it the highest grade out of anybody here. No, I dig all these crime bosses. I dig the Owl, Madame Mash, Crime Master, all this cool stuff happening. I told you guys before when we saw them all in the same room, I was like, I am down for this. I am down to see all this gangland action. I love it. It gets in my veins. I'm just hooked on it. So I love that. I like Fred and Spidey's. I think they work together well. That's been interesting to see. I don't know. I like this. This felt to me like another part of Spider-Man where it's kind of like an extension of Superior Foes in a lot of ways. And I love Superior Foes, so I'm down for that. While at the same time we have a readable ASM again. As we have now for a couple of years. And shouldn't we all just feel blessed?
All right. Who else gave it an A? No one. It was just
No one.
George.
It was just
me. Kelly and Ashley gave it a B. Ashley, what's your pros? What did you like?
Really, I didn't want to like it at first. It's just, I wasn't into it, but then it has its charm and it really sucked me in. I think just the characters and their interactions more than anything, they're so sincere and there's this genuine humor. Like it's genuinely funny, these interactions, and they just really pull you in. It's not this forced, crazy town banana pants humor. It won me over in the end.
Yeah.
I still can't really tell you how Randy and Janice are involved in this at all and why we're supposed to care. But I do. I like watching their interactions. I like seeing their little, arguing with their parents and, especially Janice, having it out with her dad. And it's just, it's just enjoyable to read.
Kelly, how about your pros? What'd you like?
I mean, I enjoy the writing, I think is the main part. That's why it's like I can't really give it a C or anything below it because it's fantastic writing and it's in that aspect of what makes Spider-Man so great, which is about, it's a drama. And that I was calling that panel like the Grease scene because it's definitely like the tell me more.
Yeah, I just now saw that comment in our chat, and I was thinking, yes, that might be the best example of it ever.
Yeah. So and I really love that part just because like that is definitely what's going on. That's real life. That's, friends talking to friends and getting advice from friends and then not listening to said friends because the heart wants what it wants. And apparently for Janice, it's some guy drinking milk out of a kitchen carton like a heathen, but that's okay. That's her prerogative.
To each his own. Yeah.
In the age of COVID, no less.
COVID, no less. But like, it's that part makes it, the thing is Spencer just makes it so much fun for these like down home personal stories. That's always a plus for me. It's just, and I'm sure we're going to have the same cons. It's not a Spider-Man story.
Yes. Well, it is, but it's
not that it feels like a Spider-Man story. Like it definitely feels like it's a part of the world, but where is Peter here?
Yeah. I'll get there in a minute.
Yeah.
JR pros, what'd you like? What was your grade again, JR?
I gave it a B.
Okay, got it.
I kind of liked. I liked this because it was interesting to see a thriving supporting cast again. To be honest, I think that strangely enough, I'm kind of starting to like the Minstrel Syndicate as a supporting cast.
Come on.
Well, and
we aren't going to call the old guys the Prostate Syndicate, are we?
I
Come
will.
on. Okay, yeah, you have a free pass.
Okay.
And Randy and Fred have their own problems, and Janice has hers, and then Robbie and Tombstone's relationship now actually is, it's old childhood rivalry. It's not that creepy stuff that Conway was doing, back in the 80s or whatever, when it was like, you were wondering if Tombstone like was in love with Robbie or something. The way, it's just a good old fashioned, almost a good old fashioned Romeo and Juliet type story in a way. Yeah. So I like I said, it was good to see, kind of like I said, have a thriving supporting cast play an important part in the story. So
I would give that a pro also. I do like Robbie. We've gone maybe 50 issues with not much of him.
I still think Janice is getting knocked up.
Yeah, I see that coming too. I think that's going to tie Randy and Tombstone together a lot. Yeah. I like the Norman stuff going on in the background. I like the Randy stuff. I like the Janice stuff. The cons, where the hell's Peter Parker? Here, I'll lead in the cons. Here's why I gave it such a low grade. In other books that were not amazing, through my 40 years of reading Spider-Man, stuff like this happened out in the webs and the specs and the adjective list. This is the main book. This is the one that I pay money to see Peter Parker all the time. I like his supporting cast. I love his supporting cast. When you shove so much supporting cast into a story that is usually spread out over 4 or 5 books a month, it pushes the amazing out of Spider-Man. You don't see him very much. And he's wearing that stupid costume. So visually, he's not cool. He's just barely in his own book. I wish we would have spread these stories out a little bit more. It seems like when Jerry Conway was juggling so many supporting casts, he did a lot better than this. Granted, I agree with what you guys said about the writing is solid. I don't have a problem reading the book. It's just my hero's not in it very much. So and the artwork is not my cup of tea either.
Go ahead.
The thing is that Spider-Man is one of those. The reason why it's had such a longevity and it's so awesome and everyone relates to it is because all the supporting characters feel real and they're amazing. And I think this is just one of those stories where it's getting to the point where, I agree with you here. That's one of the reasons, like, that's my major con is that Peter's not in any of this.
No.
And I think that it's almost Spencer is so excited to be able to play with the world, and he's a world builder, that he's slightly forgetting this book is about Peter. But I'm hoping maybe there's a reason why, but we'll see.
It's just an unbalanced book, in my opinion. Like, there's too much. It's like 80% supporting cast, 20% Peter Parker. Like, you could take Peter Parker really out of this. Fred could have taken on the goons by himself.
Fred's not going to be able to defeat all these people by himself.
Yeah, but
there's no way.
The apartment still blew up. Did Peter help with that? Or did he just show up to thwip?
I mean, he just walked in the door. I
know, in his own book.
His spider sense should have gone off.
That's true. But don't you think, George, this is too much supporting? It's 80% supporting. Maybe 20 to 10% Spider-Man.
Normally, I think back to all the times we've had these kind of gripes before and these sorts of criticisms before. And one thing I've always pointed out, like when I look at a book, is that if the writing is great, if I'm into the writing, if I'm into the story, I will forget things like, subpar art. I'll completely overlook it, right? I've said that before. I didn't think that the art in this issue was subpar. I'm just saying I've said these things before. Like, a really good story that I'm getting into will distract me from other things that maybe I wouldn't notice otherwise. A bad story, AKA anything written by one of the previous writers we won't mention, they just amplified all of the problems for me, right? Like, it made all things that, like, we might not have noticed with good writing suddenly become huge when there's bad writing, right? And we just notice them more. Yeah. Let me phrase it this way. I am probably one of the most notable people on the podcast to object to Spider-Man having different costumes.
Yeah.
And how asinine a lot of them are. I even talked about this costume. I was like, I don't like this costume. But then again, I think the point is to not like this costume because it's tied in with the whole influencer thing. I forgot about the costume in this issue.
I didn't.
I didn't know. Don't get me wrong. I noticed he wasn't reading it, but I wasn't thinking, God, I hate this costume. And it's a bad costume, but I was so into the story that I was overlooking other things that I might have otherwise kind of harped on.
Well,
Ashley is so mad she's just throwing stuff around now.
No.
She has had it.
Ashley,
Cookie dough.
ooh, you're busting out the Saturday night cookie dough. I
Hey,
love it.
I thought about grabbing Cherry Garcia after recording.
Ashley, what do you think of my complaint about it's 80% supporting cast and 20% Spider-Man in this?
I would say my take on it is especially when, I'm having to go and play catch up on all the issues that I missed because,
Right.
I had a newborn
Yeah.
that demanded my constant
Oh,
attention.
that excuse.
And when I see characters that aren't, I don't see Spider-Man on the page, it's not so much like, oh, I don't want to read about people who aren't Spider-Man. It's not even anything like that. My brain just kind of automatically engages less. And when I see, the supporting cast, it tells me this isn't necessarily the main story. This isn't like the meat of the stew here. I can kind of bypass a lot of this. And so when you get that with a whole issue or multiple issues, well, it's kind of like, it feels like a waste of an issue. However, with this one, what I think its strength is, and I know we went over price and everything, but even though it has that problem, the writing is good enough that I'm like, well, this isn't what I want ideally, and it's not maybe very strong of an issue, but I don't mind. I'm enjoying it nonetheless. Just what I am able to glean. It's just difficult to see, like, okay, where does this fit into the? Why is this relevant? Why is this important? Like the what is good. It's just that the why is has a much more tenuous connection that isn't necessarily clear. And when we actually get the answer in the next issue, I'm still kind of like, whatever.
And the Kindred is the A story. This is the B story, right? Would you say this is the B?
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right in that.
Yeah.
That's
why I don't like it. I don't know.
Well, maybe. I mean, but Brad, there's other throughout the history of Spider-Man. We've also dealt with other things like like look at the relationship stories that didn't involve Peter in the book. Aunt May and Nathan Lubinsky
didn't take up 3/4 of the book, though.
No, not out of like one book, but I mean, it was a focal point several times throughout the story. Flash Thompson and Shashan, Flash Thompson and Felicia. This has been a thing in Spider-Man history.
I just don't think. I think the balance is off.
Well, the balance is off because it also ties into crap the Kingpin's wanting to do. Like literally, Janice, and Randy have kind of become the focal point, at least in this story.
Yep.
For a lot of the awful, they're sort of the hub of story B, if you will. Mm-hmm. Like everything is revolving around that because because it also ties into so many other things. But yeah, I mean that's it's not just like Spider-Man against like a whole bunch of stuff, but it's for me it's a layered and compelling story, and I'm just enjoying it, and it's distracting me, I think, from things that I would normally notice, like if there was worse writing. It's stuff like that I'm engrossed in this story now, and I give a damn about. I said it during the review. I'm pulling for Janice and Randy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts on this so we can keep on track a little bit? I'm about to get you off track a little bit.
Did we go to JR's?
JR, any thoughts on the cons?
No.
Okay. We have a comment on the screen that says, how is the GOG Instagram? So, Ashley, before we go to yours, I'm going to pull up the GOG Instagram. We're still at 35.
Oh, man.
Ashley, when you weren't here, we went and we wanted to see if there is indeed a My Pet GOG Instagram. And it was inside. I think Ashley's going to like it right now. She just picked up her phone.
Yay!
But that actually was in the issue, My Pet GOG on Instagram, which was really kind of funny. So only 35 people went and did that.
36.
30. Oh,
Yeah.
hold on. Let me refresh.
Has social
36 indeed.
has social media influencer GOG posted anything lately?
No post yet. Oh.
Well, he's kind of busy right now. He's sniffing out Fred. If you read issue number 65 or whatever. So
No, that's funny. Okay, so Ashley, you've got this next issue. Let me go back. This is 865. And we got a preview on the crawl space. Good looking Bagley art up there. Let me blow this
Let
up.
me go plug my laptop in real quick before
Okay.
it dies in the middle of my review.
Don't want that.
Nope.
Okay, there we go. Now I have full screen it a little bit bigger. We'll take a few questions. Oh, Bruce, 37 to 40 and beyond. Should I go back to the GOG while we're waiting? Oh, where is
It's
Where
going
is
to be
it?
a follow tracker.
Okay, hold on. Copy. Paste.
Yeah.
38.
whoa, 38.
Woo!
38. My Pet GOG on Instagram. Feel free. Oh God, it's GOG. Yes, indeed. I only follow GOG on TikTok, says Hornacek.
Oh, wow.
I follow like 3 things on Instagram: wrestlers,
39.
strippers, and now GOG.
39.
Yay.
Did you just join George? You just like the
No, I joined it when we first brought it up.
Yeah.
I was one of the original members. I was one of the I was on the
You
ground
are
floor.
founder
baby.
GOG.
We were.
Yeah, I knew that I needed to because otherwise
Oh.
Ashley would get mad at me. And maybe
Yes. All right. All right. Let me. Ashley, you good with your laptop?
Yes.
All right. Cool. You've got this one with your boy on the cover. Look at that big old guy.
That's
He's
my
not
boy.
been that big in the issue though, which I'm sad about.
Also, real quick, Ashley, you've never been clearer. Like the Wi-Fi is really working real tonight.
I got a new laptop too for work.
Look at
so
that.
it's probably
You
not
are
much
clear.
better
You're
than
crystal clear.
Yeah, you're better. I mean, like your video's better than mine. Like I'm still jittery. See,
Yeah. So better Wi-Fi, better camera, new haircut, new house. What else? New baby.
new baby,
What?
new husband, Jack's history. No, I'm just kidding.
Venkman, thank you for the super chat. He's going to disagree with me. It says, while I get where Brad is coming from about Peter not being the star of the issue, but if you applied that logic to Batman the Animated Series, are Harley and Ivy and Old Wounds weak episodes because Batman's not the focus? I
think
say
What if
no.
you were paying per episode?
Yeah, that's true. if you're
Little
paying
bit
for each
beforehand.
episode, yeah.
there were a lot of DC animated shows that didn't focus on the hero.
Yeah, this is true.
Yeah, well, Vinkman, I'm just saying that I feel an unbiased. I feel like there's too much sugar in the sweet tea.
I think you're looking for something to be angry about. I think you're just looking for problems.
Okay,
honestly, if I read a slot issue and then I read this, I would be like, "Oh God, this is amazing." But go ahead, Kelly.
All right. So I'm going to actually defend Brad's stance a little bit on this comment. So I apologize, Minkman. It is nothing personal. Don't hate me. But things like Old Wounds, which actually, if I'm not mistaken, Old Wounds focused on Robin, and it was a story about going from one Robin to another. If it's the one that I'm thinking of, and then Harley and Ivy, these are 2 separate things. One, the Robin story needed to connect those Robins. Harley and Ivy. Harley was actually a creation from Paul Dini for Batman the Animated Series. And at that point in time of that episode, I want to believe DC was giving her own mini or her own comic book. And so that was done to highlight that. And in those cases, the cartoon doesn't actually apply to the comic knowledge here. There have been plenty of DC comics that have not focused on Batman with Batman in the name.
Yeah.
But I feel like trying to compare a cartoon to a comic book isn't a good it's kind of a fallacy situation because it's 2 separate mediums.
Yeah. Is there
It's very different.
Can you guys think of a Spider-Man book that doesn't have Spider-Man in it? That's really good. It has the Spider-Man name on it. I can't.
That
I mean,
doesn't have
I
Spider-Man in it?
I take it you didn't like Tangled Web.
Yeah, that was a lot of. Well, I mean, no, I'm saying that Amazing Spider-Man. The name is on the cover, and Spider-Man's not in it.
I
And
mean, you
it's-
keep saying Spider-Man's not in this. Spider-Man has
20%.
pages and pages of fight in this. He narrates it throughout.
Yeah.
And then he's out. You say Peter Parker's not in it. Peter Parker has a lengthy discussion with Randy.
I
think
just
you're
didn't feel it.
I don't know. I'm
I'm a
just
hater tonight, George.
You are a hater tonight. I mean, it's
All right.
I
let-
think-
Yeah,
I
really.
think
I thought
understand.
George was the one with the headache today. It
Yeah.
sounds like Brad is the one that's got
What
the
were you
head
saying, Kelly?
issues
If I
today.
can bridge the two sides here.
Yes.
Yes.
And look, I take the stance of I am J. Jonah Jameson at heart. I need more Spider-Man.
Yeah, get me more Spider-Man in my comic.
Yeah.
I will tend to bridge the two sides here and say it is a good it's a good
Yeah.
issue, but you could skip it and I don't
Yes.
think you would miss much. And
Yes.
that is a weakness,
Hence my
I think.
C. Yes, I agree 100%. 100%. Speaking of,
So it's not that
Could
it's
we-
bad.
could we skip this one? We will find out. Ashley, get me through this one.
oh yeah, GOG issues easily skippable.
Well, too bad because Gog's not in it.
Yeah, I know.
Spoiler alert.
What a disappointment on that.
Yeah. No,
Yeah, it's like
Brad
false
had me really
advertising.
hyped up. He's like,
Me too.
actually, we're putting you on the GOG issue. And I'm reading and I'm reading and I'm
Aw.
reading.
Yep.
We're putting on the
So-
GOG cover.
And
Yeah.
I was all set to have GOG puns ready, but no GOG. So
What would be
I
an
will
example
say-
of a GOG pun you had ready?
I have one that I can still use. I'm saving it
Okay.
for when GOG
Good,
does
good,
appear.
Good, good, good.
Okay.
Ashley, what's a good example of a GOG story that doesn't have GOG in it? Can you think of one?
This one.
Well, it depends on what you thought about this issue, George. Okay.
Go ahead.
So we open up with Norman sprinting into this where they were keeping Harry, and Baron Mordo has been summoned to enact his Baron Mordo-ness on Kindred to get him to talk. Norman says to Fisk, "What the hell are you doing? We had an agreement. You're kind of doing this." I sympathize with Norman here. If Baron Mordo were anywhere near my child, I would flip out, and not just because I love my child dearly, just because Baron Mordo is really creeps me out. Just that hair, man, come on. I've never liked him. But yeah, Norman says we had a deal. You know, you're supposed to let me treat Harry, and keep everything. Let me handle everything with him.
Actually, that's 65 though, isn't it?
Is
isn't
it?
No,
That
no,
that one-
it's well, no, but I mean, it is 64 too, but it's not. Your
okay.
preview is starting in a different place in the beginning of the issue.
Oh, I got you. I got you.
Yeah.
I see. Because I have the images up. Yeah, I got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, you scared me for a second because I'm like, oh my god, what if
What if you're reviewing the wrong book?
had the
It's
cover
okay.
for 64, but the content of 65, and that's why GOG's not in it. I had those thoughts.
It's all good. It's all
Mordo is in both issues.
Okay. Got
Okay.
it. Got it.
So great, we get a double dose of Baron Mordo creepiness. Ugh. But yeah, so Norman says, like, Fisk, what are you doing? This is supposed to, we had a deal. And Fisk says, well, you weren't getting any results, and this guy over here is getting me results. So I'm gonna let him keep, waving his creepy hands and staring his creepy face at your son until we get him to talk, basically. And that's it for the entire issue. We never see them again. They're basically dead as far as this the context of this issue is concerned. But we go back to Lincoln has gotten to where the apartment where Randy and Janice were kidnapped, and he's looking at the wreck, and she's like, oh my god, what have they done to my daughter? What have they done to my little girl? And then Robbie just happens to pop in at the same time, and he's convinced that Lincoln, this had to have been you. You're the one behind this. And, they have a wonderful little reunion here where they're basically blaming each other for what happened at first. Saying, Robbie's saying, you're involved with the mob. And so it had to have been something mob related that got my son, wrapped up into this mess. I try to warn him before, anything like this happened. And, Lincoln's trying to say, it's, why would I have anything to do with this? You would think I wanted them to, get my daughter wrapped up into this. And so, of course, they're going to have to team up, and we get a buddy episode with Lincoln and Robbie. But before they can get too into it, we have Do It for the Gram Spider-Man swinging in to break up the fight and say, "Hey, it's my job."
Wait. Do it for the Graham Spider-Man. I love that. That is cute.
Gram Spider-Man. That was my moniker.
I love it.
So you basically saying, let's quit wasting time arguing with one another. I get that you guys, have your thing going on here, but let's, move the plot forward, and see if we can find them. And then he gives us a little recap of what happened hours ago, back after they walked into the apartment and found Madame Mask et al. Kidnapping Randy and Janice. Poor Fred, to give himself the opportunity to, get changed into his new, Graham suit. He throws Fred into the wall, slams his head into a pipe, and he's just knocked out for, indefinitely, apparently, until, the very end of the issue, I guess. Whenever he wakes up, whether it's minutes or hours later, I mean, if this were real life, he would have some serious brain trauma, and Peter would have a lot to answer for. And I think we just spent a very, very long time going in depth over, how Peter hurts his loved ones, and he just does this to Fred. But I guess that's a little too much realism for comics right now. But he takes the opportunity with Fred knocked out for an indeterminate amount of time to change into his suit and clean up Madame Mask and what's he called? Crime Master.
Mm-hmm.
But before he's able to do anything, Madame Mask hits him with like a little sonic web buzzy thing that keeps him contained, which so much for the influencer suit. But he's ultimately able to use the extra juice it apparently has and use it to get away. But of course, after they've already gotten away. So after he's caught Lincoln and Robbie up on, here's everything that happened. They, are about to get into it again, but they decide okay, you know what, we're gonna, here's what we're gonna do next. Robbie says, I've got a source who could be in business with these people, and I'm going to use my investigative journalism connections to see if I can get someone to talk and shake some people up. And Spidey goes off to his own way to go get some backup. Meanwhile, we cut to Randy and Janice Lovebirds themselves, as they've been kidnapped, and they're of course having their little lover spat right in front of the Madame Mask and her goons, and Janice is getting all upset because she says, you're embarrassing me in front of the kidnappers. This is my crew. You can't make me look bad in front of them. And she spends the rest of the time fangirling over Madame Mask, who has just about had it, and I guess getting kicked in the face didn't really turn her against her at all. So
no, she's dedicated.
Yeah, she's setting herself up for a bit of an abusive relationship here. I hope her father can talk to her a little bit about expectations for people and how she should be treated, so she can have a little more
Yep.
Don't let people treat you like that, Janice. If someone kicks you in the face, don't suggest that you could team up with them.
Yeah.
Or that they could be your mentor. But thankfully for Janice, Madame Mask is not interested, and she just says she's the most irritating hostage she's ever had to take. Which, fair enough, I guess. Anyways, Crime Master comes in and explains, here's where we get the explanation of why did they even kidnap Randy and Janice in the first place. And weak is all I've got to say. Basically, they say, we're not interested in, what the Kingpin's offering here. We just want to create chaos. And, basically, because Fisk has set up this whole, the get out of jail free card and everything, we're basically using the shift that could create in the criminal underworld to, take advantage of the turf wars and any power vacuums created to grab up their own territory. And then so that's why they have Janice and then Randy, because they're like, oh, if we are able to get hold of a major newspaper as well and turn it to, speak favorably on us and what we're doing, then we're controlling the media at the same time. Weak.
Uh-huh.
But then we go to see Robbie, who is questioning Mirage, who I am not familiar with, but I'm sure someone here.
He was at Doc Ock and Aunt May's wedding, right? Isn't that the same
No,
one?
Ned Leeds and Betty Brants. And
Oh, that's right. That's right.
amazing number 156. But I thought he got killed by the Scourge or something or other.
Oh,
The
he gets
bar-
better.
no?
It's probably another one.
Okay.
He is Robbie's contact here, and he's the one. He apparently has been possibly working with Madame Mask and her group, and it takes Lincoln shaking him up, literally holding him upside down over from the rooftop of the building.
I'll give you that. That was pretty funny. I like that. I did like that. That was fun.
Their little good cop, bad cop routine there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like Lethal Weapon. It was like Mel Gibson and Danny Glover teaming up. I could see like Robbie as Danny Glover and Tombstone is like Mel Gibson. I mean, what would it be called? What's the Lethal Weapon guys' names? Crockett and Tubbs?
Riggs
No,
and Murtaugh.
That's Miami Vice.
Oh yeah.
Crockett and
Sorry.
Tubbs is Miami Vice. Yeah.
My bad. I could
I
see
feel
a
like I'm
buddy
enjoying
cop
this
show.
where I feel like I've seen something that uses that exact same scenario, but I can't, like, so many come to mind that I'm like, I can't.
Oddly enough, it was a Grease, as Kelly said
No.
earlier in the last
It's probably
issue.
also Grease.
All
Oh my
things
God,
go back
is
to
this the
Grease.
episode.
Mirage was brought back in the Clone Conspiracy, says Vinkman. Weren't they all?
Hmm.
Yep.
But yeah, after getting shaken up at the rooftop, Mirage feels and he says, hey, here's everything that's going on with Madame Mask and, the new things she's and Crime Master and what they've got set up. Just, here's a car with their address, I'll hook you up. And so that gets them on track to, going to go after Randy and Janice together. Meanwhile, we see where Spider ran off to go get backup, where he, just dumped Fred's unconscious body unceremoniously, which if he's been knocked out for that long, that's not good for Fred. That's entering brain damage territory. But again, we're maybe too much realism.
Right.
Thankfully, Fred has woken up and he's left a note for Spider-Man basically saying, you're the best friend I have ever had. And, meeting you is one of the best things that's ever happened to me, but I'm worried my luck's running out. I can't keep relying on it. I've got to go do something myself. Because if I keep doing nothing, then people I care about are going to be put in danger, including, Aunt May, Randy, Gog. So basically, Fred said, here today, Gog tomorrow, and jump ship.
Yeah, we waited for it.
Yay.
Yes.
And he's going it
Yay.
alone to confront Fisk.
Nice.
She'll be here all week. Try the veal.
I love it. Okay, Ashley, what is your grade? Ooh, big sigh.
I would say B- for this one.
Okay, Kelly, grade.
I give it a solid B.
Okay, Jr.
I'll give it a C this time.
George,
Hey,
C out of me. All right, real quick.
Well,
Vinkman,
I changed mine to a B- because I don't want to.
You don't
be
want to
the
be as
same for
negative
Fred.
as I. Vinkman, I saw your super chat. We'll get to that question after we get done with the pros and cons. Ashley, what's your biggest pros out of this?
Again, it's mostly just rolling off of prose from the last issue. It's well written. It is good to just I can just enjoy the writing. There aren't any moments where I'm just like face palming or holding my head
Yeah.
or cringing. I like the interactions between Lincoln and Robbie. It feels, really believable, their animosity towards one another without becoming unnecessarily toxic or like drawn out or extorted for, to make their very real aggravated history towards one another to draw it out, basically to play it up for laughs or whatever. It takes their grievances seriously, but manages to keep it light at the same time, and it's just Spencer's style. It just makes it work well.
Okay. Other pros.
I'll let everybody else go before I get to
Yeah,
mine.
you can close since you're the highest A.
I like Fred's message. It's comedy gold, which I appreciated. So it's all the pros Ashley has. Plus, I like that Fred is going away to be a hero, even though he's very, very misguided. I do slightly feel like he's gonna die, though.
Oh, you know what? Hornacek has a good point. Ashley, I cut you off. There's more to this book, isn't there? We forgot the Doc Ock part. I forgot. Sorry.
Yeah, we get a little bit where we see Doc Ock in the graveyard, and he's got the centipedes coming out of his ear, and it looks like he's controlled by Kindred. And he opens up an empty coffin. And what is it he says?
What Kindred says?
And he's back to being Tubby, so I guess that cloned body that he had didn't work out.
Yeah, he got transferred at the end of that Superior Spider-Man
basically
miniseries.
I've been searching for answers for months. And here's another dead end. Good one, Doc. It's an empty coffin in the graveyard. Kindred tells him, oh, don't worry, it's going to make sense soon. And an icky little centipede crawls into his ear.
What
into his ear, not out of his ear.
Coffin was that? What grave was that? What do you think he was looking for? Who besides his mother? Or what about that girlfriend from the 90s?
Yeah, because there wasn't anything left in of him to bury.
No.
I don't think, was there? Like, remember when he was dying originally before he swapped body, or before he took over Peter's body? I don't think there was even enough left of his own body, was there?
Maybe that's why the coffin's empty.
Oh, well, there you go.
I mean,
I don't know.
I think it might be something to do with maybe someone who's supposed to be deceased in this brand new day world, and they're not. But I don't know who he was looking for.
JR, any guesses who he would look for?
I thought he was actually, well, I don't know. I thought he was, the only thing that occurred to me was Captain Stacy, only because, like, Kindred Kindred was robbing graves, and that was and so Doc Ock is obviously, because when we last saw Doc Ock, when I think his series was canceled, he didn't have all his memories. He didn't know who Spider-Man was anymore. And I think, him, he's trying to repair his memory or whatever, and he remembers killing George Stacy, and so he's come and he doesn't find George Stacy in the grave. That's just a wild guess, because otherwise I really don't know. So, but he's trying to piece together his memory again.
Other pros before we move to cons. Let me hear George or Kelly. Did you give some?
I just mentioned my pro is Fred's letter. I mean, I do enjoy the splash page for the new Sinister Wars, but it's just because I'm like, yay, it's something that's involving Kindred.
My pro before we get to George is Tombstone holding the guy upside down. I thought that was fun. Let me hear George.
What about JR? Did JR give his?
I don't need to give any. I mean, to be honest, to me, this was a bit repetitive or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, kind of like second part syndrome, So before we get to the conclusion,
does it at least interest you that it looks like we're heading towards a Norman Kingpin confrontation?
Well, I don't know if we are. I mean, we never get anything else. We never really head toward anything else. So.
By the way, what issue number is this? Are we sick? We're 4 issues after the Mephisto tease, aren't we? Still nothing. Not a word about Mephisto.
No, we're not going to for a while.
Issue 75 or 100, I'm
It took
guessing.
to do Kindred.
Yeah, I know, right?
My guess would be 75 probably.
Yeah.
And then we'll get like one panel.
And then we'll go wait till
Or not
100.
like one page and then like, well, wait a minute.
Ah,
Probably some of it'll tie in with the Spider-Man movie because Doctor Strange is supposed to be in it.
Probably.
So there will probably be we'll probably revisit some of that around then to cross promote.
I blame myself, but we need to get booking a little bit.
No, I'll
Yeah.
go ahead and give mine real quick.
Yeah.
I like the humor in this book. I like the continuation of all the Janice and Randy stuff. I enjoyed Madame Mask, and it reminded me, like when I was reading this issue, that Madame Mask is in this. Remember one of the other villains that was kind of earlier in the story during the Sin Eater stuff was Count Nefaria, and Madame Mask is Count Nefaria's daughter. So I liked how that was kind of tied in. But I mean, like, there's a couple of moments in here when I laughed out loud, like when Randy and Robbie, which I like them working together, having to put their differences aside to help their kids. I think it. I mean, like, they both don't like each other, but I kind of, at one point they did. At one point they were friends. On some, and so I like that this kind of gives them a reason to kind of get back to it's character growth, and I always like that, But the one time, like when they're fighting in their ruins of the apartment, and Robbie says said she was nothing, or that he was talking to he's telling Tombstone what he said about his daughter, and he said she was nothing but a vicious crook like her old man. And Tombstone says, "Hey, watch it." I mean, thank you. I laughed out loud during that. And then the other one was during Fred's letter, which, by the way, who does Fred sound like through this entire letter?
I don't know.
I have to go away. I'm hurting the people that are important to me.
Oh, he sounds like Peter.
All of the friends that are around me, don't come after me. I have to do this by myself.
Yeah.
He sounds exactly like Spider-Man.
Yeah, that's true.
And the one line that had me howling in this was when he said, "God forbid something happened to you, Pete, the most helpless and powerless of all of us."
That was funny. I'll give you that.
I'd never forgive myself. Oh man, I howled. That was hysterical.
All right. Any other comments on this one? Real quick, I want to answer these couple real quick questions. Matt is wondering if this will lead into Robbie Robertson telling Peter he knows his secret. Do you think that's coming?
I would love that. Oh, I hope so.
That's never been done, with the exception of Civil War.
It's always been a thing that, like, we just know
Yeah,
that he does, but they've never really dealt with it.
that's going back to Conway. We thought he knew.
Mm-hmm.
I thought. Also, real quick, Vinkman, thank you for the super chat. He's back to my complaint about Peter's not in it enough. And so he did give us a comic book analogy, and I actually agree with you, Vinkman. ASM 259, which is Mary Jane's solo origin story, is a very good story, and it doesn't have Spider-Man in it. I would agree.
Okay.
I don't equate, though, Robbie Robertson and Janice as an equal to Mary Jane, though. I don't think I think having an origin of essentially the second most popular character in the book.
I mean,
Robbie and Janice aren't it.
there
And
are a
Randy.
few other characters who could probably claim the same level of importance to the story as, say, Mary Jane or Aunt May or Jonah.
I would frame it this way.
Okay.
What stake does Peter have in Randy and Janice's relationship?
Well,
That
Randy's his friend. Randy's a friend that he's lived with twice, even.
Yeah, what is Peter's stake in this? It's just his roommate. I mean,
Yeah.
the worst case scenario, his friends die and he loses an apartment.
That's enough to kill to make him feel that. He even says that at the beginning. He's like,
lose apartment.
he even says that like when he's talking to Robbie and Tombstone. He's like, the guilt is my thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like, Randy is legitimately his friend.
Yeah.
For years,
Well,
yeah.
like, I'm not saying there are no stakes. They just seem a little low.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Well,
True.
I'm not going to call Randy a low stake at all. He's lived with Randy twice. They're very close friends. Not only that, but I mean, like, one of his new close friends, Fred, it also, all of this impacts him as well because it's all tied in together. I look at this and I'm like, there's every reason for Peter to be involved in this.
Hornacek, Brad doesn't care if Peter's friends and roommate die. What
No, he
is
doesn't.
going on here?
He
He'll
doesn't
get
care if
another
he's
pad.
homeless.
He'll move in with MJ. It'll be much better, Hornacek. Who
What's-
cares?
I mean, what stake does he have in like stopping random crime on the streets? Literally every stake he has is tied into Uncle Ben dying because of his inaction, Brad.
I know. Man, I didn't expect to be Mr. Negative on. Oh, I mean, that's a villain, actually. I didn't mean to do that.
I'll slap you.
Brad
Okay,
Pitt
let's
was
get
here.
on. We only got. Let's get through this one, JR, in 3 seconds. All right. Here we go. We got ASM 866 with a whole bunch of people on the cover.
right.
Let's do the previews. Here we go. Go ahead, JR.
All right. Well, the issue opens with comic book Baron Mordo, who doesn't look anything like MCU Baron Mordo, interrogating Kindred, while Mayor Fisk and our hero, Norman Osborn, look on. But in the midst of this, Kindred calls out to Norman, "Father, please," which prompts Norman to proclaim, "Enough!" and threatens Fisk that if he doesn't back off Kindred, the Green Goblin is gonna start fucking up things for Fisk, uptown and downtown. So, all right. So Fisk agrees to back off for 24 hours. And Norman approaches Kindred to tell him that he heard him. And Kindred said, "Yeah, so what? I've asked you for help my entire life and got nothing out of it. Not even a free copy of Marvel Secret Wars, which JR got his son, So why should now be any different?" So, but the thing is, this didn't really seem right, to be honest. And I'm not trying to be. It's like because Kindred says, "Father, please." Harry is never called Norman father. It's dad. And, it's kind of like if my kids were under duress, they wouldn't say father. They'd say dad. And,
What if they
Rachel-
were possessed by some kind of demon? Would that up the ante a little bit? Maybe
I don't
switch
know
back to
that
calling you
we
father
don't
like
know.
in an epic story.
We don't know
Father
that
of mine.
we don't know that Harry's possessed by a demon. Harry is the demon for all we know. And he's been talking normal all the whole time, calling Pete, and it's like anyway. It's probably nothing. It's but it just kind of one of those little things that I think even though I like Nick Spencer's writing when he's not doing Secret Empire, that is, that sometimes he just little details. I think he doesn't quite.
Bruce says,
you know.
"Is it even Harry? Is that a sign that it is Kindred is Harry?"
I don't even want to go down that road. I mean, it took us 50 issues to learn that it was Harry.
I want to go back to JR saying he likes Spencer's writing.
Yeah,
It's
I remember
entertaining.
that.
I mean, come on. I never
That's-
said I never said I didn't like Nick Spencer's writing. I just said that the stories drag on too long, and I just don't think we're I think we should be a lot farther along. But I mean, come on.
I
this is-
mean, we've talked about that before, but is that Spencer? Is that on Spencer or is that on the editor?
I don't know, but I've never said I didn't like Nick Spencer's writing. I don't like certain stories here and there, and like I said, I think he gets some of the details wrong sometimes. And I think he, someone who obviously has done his research should know better. Like Norman drinking the Goblin formula and stuff. But anyway, that was kind of aside. The scene shifts to a warehouse on a dock which is currently being staked out by the new two best buds, Robbie and Tombstone, who've been, they've been told by Dangling Mirage that's where their kidnapped kids are. Of course, they indulge in a little unexpected bonding as they realize that regardless of whether you're a highly respected, highly esteemed member of the Fourth Estate, or if you're an unrepentant mob boss supervillain, your kids still won't listen to you. But it turns out, though, that Robbie and Tombstone were already in the warehouse, that it was the courtesy of a Mirage from Mirage, who, like I said, I thought was killed off by the Scourge at the bar with no name, but Venkman or somebody, forgive me if I got the name wrong, brought up that clone conspiracy brought everybody back, which forgive me if I forgot that classic. But anyway, and then okay, so we got Madam Mask and we got Crime Master number 18 or whatever, whoever he is. So Robbie tells Madam Mask that Spider-Man is on the way, but she's not worried because she's following Spider-Man on the app, on the Heroes and Villains, the Menaces and Threats app. See, Spider-Man's not going to come. Well, and Tombstone says, well, forget Spider-Man, babe. I brought my own backup. And of course, then it's the Minstrel Syndicate, And so, well, the thing is, I really don't know what happens the next 3 pages because I can't tell what's going on from the art. but I assume that it's a fight. And I assume that after a while, the good guys win. So ultimately, Robbie begins to see why Randy likes Janice. Tombstone is grossed out by young love, aren't we all? And Randy and Janice decide to move in together. Now, the scene moves back to Ravencroft, which actually I forgot to mention earlier that in Norman's earlier confrontation with Kindred, that Harry bringing up the fact that Norman never listened to him so far made Norman's ears actually go apart from his head. I don't know how you guys probably really can't see that real well, but see, it just like Norman's ears kind of just separate from his head. All right.
Yeah.
Well, I got you full screen. Go ahead. Let me see that Norman image you were talking about. Yeah, it's the art. That looks like Harry, doesn't it? Doesn't look like Norman.
Well, I mean, it's like Norman's trying to get Spock ears or something. I mean, it's like, it's just like they just all of a sudden Norman, and then he's like this, his ears are sticking out, So I don't know, whatever. Anyway, so anyway, we go back to Ravencroft where Norman's ears are closer to his head again, Norman now approaches another resident of Ravencroft for assistance in what is no doubt a plan to liberate Kindred. So afterwards, there's still the matter of the Kingpin having all of his crooked cronies on the lookout for Spidey's new best bud Boomerang, and Spider-Man realizing that if he's going to save Fred, he's going to have to whore his title out to a Marvel team-up style story to try to boost sales of a concluding chapter that is outside the regular run of the title, because that's just the kind of crap Marvel does these days. To be continued, but not in an issue of Amazing Spider-Man.
Yep. Amen, brother. Amen. All right, JR, grade.
I gave it a B-. I mean, I kind of liked the way, I kind of liked the Tombstone bringing in the girls, since you only said bringing in the girls. I kind of like that. I kind of like that. I didn't understand what was going on during any of those 3 pages, but and I like Tombstone, saying, can I look now, or while they're kissing, which, frankly, if you've ever had a kid, particularly if you have a daughter who has a boyfriend or whatever, the last thing you want to do is see her engage in any kind of affection with him, because it's just not right. It's not right. Like I've told my daughter, she can't get married until I'm dead. Absolutely not. So I thought that was amusing. So, but
Muhammad gives it an A. Power Packers C+. Let's go around the horn. JR, yours was a B?
B-. B-.
Kelly, what's yours?
B-.
C out of me. Ashley?
B+.
George?
A+.
A+.
I loved this.
Okay. Other pros before we go to cons.
Why does that bug you that I like this?
No, it's okay. We usually are on the same page, is why it bugs me.
I mean, usually
maybe
I'm
it's you that's
you're
wrong.
always...
Maybe it's a you issue, Brad. It's not a George issue. It's a you
I don't
issue.
know. Is it the fact that I read all 3 today that I'm giving them all C's? I mean, I just read them all today, and I was just like, and then I was
I think
better. No.
I think you were looking for things to find wrong.
No.
Yeah, I think Brad woke up on, somebody peed in his Wheaties this morning, and he's just, really ready to take it out on everybody and everything.
George is hearing Brad.
I would say the only pro I have is just in my notes, I wrote Tombstone and Robbie are my new favorite dysfunctional dynamic
Yes.
Yeah. I like
Dynamic
I
dad
like-
duo.
yeah.
Yep. Triple D.
Triple D. Ashley, you're pro.
Kelly just said it. It really won me over. Just the dynamic between Robbie and Lincoln. I think just the moment where it just like totally won me over when they're talking about it's like, oh, how being dads, like, this is the worst thing about it, but there's also being dads is one of the worst things, but also one of the best things too. And they just kind of are able to completely and wholly agree with that despite their differences. And it was just a very
Yeah. Brad ate the new Oscorp Cocoa Puffs for breakfast. That's why I'm so negative. Cons, JR?
None really come to mind. I mean, it was an okay story, okay ending. I don't really. Well, yeah, the art. I would say the art. Norman's ears.
Yeah. The art's rough.
Norman's ears being almost detached from his head, and then just I didn't understand anything that was going on with the fight. I mean, it almost looked like a comic book the way Salvador Dali would have painted it. So.
George, did I skip your pros? I apologize.
You did skip my pros, and I've been sitting here stewing the entire time, plotting your demise.
Oh, go ahead, hit me with the pros real quick.
All right,
why are you giving it an A?
I don't have any cons. The art during the fight. I mean, I don't have a problem with the art overall, but the art during the fight sometimes. I feel like either the way it was inked or laid out, I'm not real sure which one. Some of it was kind of hard to really comprehend. You had to stare at it a little while to really get what was going on. But my pros, I loved all of Janice's teammates showing up to help. Again, this book is very funny. I know one of them at one point when they realized that that they were having to help Spider-Man again, said the comments are going to be brutal. On that, and so I liked all of this. I really liked seeing how far Tombstone and Robbie have come as characters through all this. I just really enjoyed that. I thought that was really cool. And now, then we find out that they're moving in together, and they're both like, if it's fine with us if you want to date, but they're trying to do like the reverse psychology thing. I mean, no, I just enjoyed this. I thought this was a really good arc.
The comedic timing is really, really excellent in this issue.
It is. It really is.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah. Any other thoughts on that issue before we move on? I've got a couple things I want to put. We're just going to be late for the news show. I'm not going to be able to get the 9:30 like I wanted. So on the crawl space, if you go to it right now, I've got a preview of the issue that comes out this coming Wednesday. So let's take a look at it. Here is the preview. We're paying $6 for this one. This coming Wednesday. So we've got Mr. Negative here. Oh, we've got 3 artists. I like Carlos Gomez though. I like Carlos. I don't recognize these other 2 guys.
Well, yeah, I was about to say, wait a minute, who's the other Carlos? There's like a Carlos last name, then a last name Carlos.
Z Carlos.
There's Carlos Gomez and Zic Carlos, who is
Roque Antonio.
Zay Carlos is the French clone of Carlos.
Oh, there you go.
Zic Carlos.
Who is this guy? Back off, Mr. Shiny. He's mine. Oh, that's Silvermane. That's Silvermane's new body over here.
Have they put him into a spider slayer? What is that?
It looks like a floating head, and it looks like a trash can. He's got a little grip over here. Look at that.
Or is that one of the? Is that one of the Kingpin's like robots?
Possibly.
Don't they have like robots? So he has. I know he has some kind of robot enforcers. I think we've seen him before.
Oh, this lady.
Who's the dude that's saying you really think I would trust the likes of you? Who is that guy?
I don't know, but that's that gal from Luke Cage's book, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Mariah Carey?
No, not Mariah Carey. I forget who that guy is. Hey, Ashley, we have Gog. Here's little Gog.
There he be.
No.
Yep. First, to get MJ and keep an eye on Gog during what came next. And there's Luke Cage.
I love how MJ's just been kind of relegated for the time being as Gog's babysitter.
Yeah.
Are you you're talking about the earlier the gal he was talking to? That's Black Mariah from Luke Cage.
Oh, Black Mariah. Who's this guy?
That's racist.
That dude.
Oh, stop it.
Well, I think
Okay.
calling her Black Mariah. Maybe she doesn't identify as whatever.
We got Kingpin. Who is this gal?
That's
That's Madam Mask, isn't
Jessica
it?
Jones.
It's what?
Isn't that Jessica Jones? Or
It's not Madam Mask.
You sure?
Madam Mask doesn't look like she's
Yeah.
under her mask. I think she's like kind of screwed
No,
up.
I think she's.
I mean,
I think she's not scarred anymore.
I'm pretty sure that's Jessica Jones because again,
Mhm.
because we completely skipped over it.
Oh yeah,
trying
you're
to
right.
rush
Yeah,
You're
that's
right.
her.
The splash
Right.
page with our favorite Defenders / Avengers team.
Oh yeah.
Is this like a guessing game? We're supposed to guess who the heroes are. You know?
Well, I mean, it's she's not wearing any kind of costume, and she's hanging out with Iron Fist and Luke Cage. I kind of did the math.
Yeah.
Well, I just saw her on this. I didn't see the next page as I'm scrolling. So yes, it is Jessica Jones. You got Iron Fist and Hawkeye and Wolverine and Jessica Drew over here. So Jessica Drew and Jessica Jones together. Lots of Jessicas.
Yeah, we got the Jessicas.
And all right, so Spider-Man goes and gets some friends. It looks like, which we've complained about that before.
But these are good friends. I like these
Yeah.
friends. He hasn't
Uh,
hung out with these friends in a while.
Luke Cage and Iron Fist being there makes sense.
Okay.
Spider-Man's got history with them.
Yeah.
He's got history with Wolverine. Some of it I don't like. I don't like Spider-Man's Avengers period at all.
Yeah.
But you know,
ES.
some of it makes sense.
ES wants to know, George, you dropping $6 on this one?
Yeah, it's not 10.
because you liked the previous issue. So yeah.
Yeah, it's not 10.
George Comment wants to know where you draw the line. $10 is his line. I understand. Yeah.
Yeah. 10 bucks is to me, it's like a big price grab. And as I take that back, I was about to say, as we've pointed out, as you all have pointed out, because I haven't read any of the $10, I haven't bought or read any of the $10 issues from Spencer or before then, because I think the first one was with Slot.
I think it was issue 600. I think.
But yeah, and here's the reason. Number one, if you buy that, you're fueling it. You're telling them
Hence,
that
we've
they
had
can,
it since. Yeah.
and they'll just keep doing it if a lot of people buy it. And the lesson that people have not learned, and this is a lesson I already knew before even buying it, or not before, but instead of buying it. This is something I knew ahead of time as soon as it's announced, and which you all have. Well, I mean, I was about to say you guys haven't learned that lesson, but then I mean somebody's got to talk about it on the show.
Yeah.
But
Also,
all
go
those
ahead.
issues are usually they're not as impactful story wise, and they're padded with crap.
True. Yes, there are at least 3 or 4 backups in a $10 book, which really sucks. Also, Dark Mark and Chi-Town wanted me to give you guys a heads up. Over the next several issues, they're going to be doing trade-offs on the front page. So Mark has the next issue, the giant size. Then Chi-Town will do the 66. So this is a little flow chart. Goes all the way. They've plotted it all the way up to September. So look for that on the front page of the crawl space. These are our 2 normal ASM guys, along with Ryan. Ryan also does video reviews. But they're going to go back and forth because there's so much amazing content coming out.
That's pathetic. That is absolutely pathetic.
What's pathetic about it?
Chameleon Conspiracy #1, Sinister War #1. You know, it's like, so we got we got King's Ransom #1. It's like, honest to God, just give us Amazing Spider-Man 2 or 3 times a month, and tell the stories. Don't do all this additional money grabs.
Look at it. It's 1, 2, 3, 4 issues a month. It looks like so every week of the month. You're getting a Spider-Man book that's tied into the main book. This is an editor thing, isn't it, George?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. This is 100% editor saying more books, more money. Yeah. Yep. I may actually get Sinister War though. I'm kind of teetering on that. It'll be the first thing I've bought that's not ASM. Well, if you don't consider that ASM .LR issue you made me.
Are you
buy.
getting the Chameleon Conspiracy?
No. No, that I won't get that. I won't be getting King's Ransom.
Well, no, that's the one we just previewed. So you said you were.
Oh, is that the $6 one?
Yeah, that's a $6 one. That's coming
I
out
didn't know
next
that. I
Wednesday.
didn't know that's what it was called.
Wednesday,
Well, in that case, yeah, God, how long does that go on? Is that just the number one?
No,
or-
that's the next. That wraps up next week.
I don't know now. I don't know.
Um,
We'll see.
Gabriel
if
says, "Don't you love it when you need a
if Dark Mark and Chi-Town don't do the same issues, then will they won't be exchanging the insults then, will they? I mean, you know,
Well, they
I
have
would-
comments. We have comments on the front page.
I would
The
kinda
insults will
miss that.
continue.
You know, breaking these things up to one reviewer per 1 month. You know, I remember a better time when we had Neil doing reviews, and you could just get 2 reviews per month from both of our regular guys.
I know, man. It's just insane. I like what Gabriel says. Don't you love it when you have to have a flow chart? Yep, we got a flow chart going on over here, Gabriel.
Okay, that's not a flow chart.
Yeah, no.
Oh, that's a
That's a table.
spreadsheet. I'm
That's
sorry.
that's a table.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry. My bad. My bad.
I mean, we could turn it into
and he's a
we could
teacher.
turn it into a flow chart.
10 years ago, he was a reporter. Now he's a teacher. What? Now next month,
Well,
he'll be
you don't
because
even
he's a
know the
man.
difference
Is what
between
you're
a
going to say.
spreadsheet, a chart, and you're a teacher.
Oh,
You know,
my
I mean,
God.
you
Yeah.
called it a flow chart originally.
I
I mean, have you
know it,
ever
I
seen
know
it? I mean,
Yeah,
God,
don't
I mean,
you love it
again,
when you-
Missouri, you know, the
JR,
Missouri
I know
public
BD
education
said
system.
stop, and I get why, but don't you make me LOL every time. JR cult for life is what.
Hey, there you go.
Right, you could just say "lol" instead of saying "lol."
I thought that
That's
was
that's
funny.
accepted parlance. You can just say
He's saying
"lol."
we need a flow chart. Okay, that is a wrap on this episode. We are going to take 5 minutes. I know we're past it by 11 minutes that people are waiting for the news show.
Everyone say
We-
bye to Ashley. She won't be with us.
Ashley's
I
Sunday.
gotta go to bed. I'm tired.
And thank you for being
Well,
on.
great
Hopefully you
seeing
can join
everyone.
us again.
It was great seeing you. I've missed you.
I've
I've missed
y'all
her too.
And I guess like since I won't be on the next show, I just want to do my final thoughts real quick, if that's okay.
Yeah. I
But
didn't
I
even
wanted
do
to
final
say-
thoughts. I'm in such a hurry.
When I first joined the crawl space, it was in the midst of I think Spider-Verse. And like we hated every single issue. And I know George did especially. George was giving out like the lowest grades. So to now have this episode where he's giving out he is giving out the highest grades. George, I am genuinely happy for you that you're enjoying these so much.
Aw.
Well, thank you.
Aw.
Thank you very much. Yeah,
Oh, that's
it
fine.
makes a big difference when the books are actually readable.
Oh, it does.
Yeah.
Again,
Was I
guess
throwing
it's
out
hard
F's
through
too?
3
Actually, I
sizes.
don't think I was that negative on it.
Yeah,
Until-
Brad was
until they
giving out
killed
the
Amazing
nicest
Friends.
nicest grades on those. Like,
Well, there's a reason Brad's, once Brad sadly shuffles off the mortal coil, on his tombstone will be written, I give it a B.
I give that headstone an A because it's great. Once they killed the Spider Friends and Mayday's dad, yeah,
It's
F's all the
May's
way.
dad. It's Peter.
Oh yeah, well that's true.
It was just a shit story.
It
Yeah.
was.
It really was. It was
Yeah.
a shit
All
story.
right, we will be back in 5 minutes. We have Spider News. You do not want to miss it. Mike is going to join us. Mike is back replacing Ashley. We're swapping those two out. We will be back in just a few minutes.